morning, peoples. How is everybody? We will be discussing Mirai of the future, as a matter of fact, on today's program. How are you, trouble number one?
Well, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just having slight, shall we say, external sound problems. So if I suddenly go silent, you'll know why. I'll forewarn everybody before we get there. Um, Looking forward to reviewing Mirai. Um, Mirai is, shall we say, an unusual film to review.
I wouldn't so much to say it was an unusual film to review. It was giving me traumatic whiplash because I was seeing was my kids when they were little, especially my niece and my nephew, which I helped raise.
Yeah,
And it was 100% that kind of animosity. Yeah. And then when my daughter was born after it, she was the younger, kind of like Mariah is, with the whole thing with her brother. So, yeah, a lot of this movie as a mom rang
mm,
true.
yeah,
But there's other things as a mom that I literally was like, would you please discipline that child? But we will get into that.
yeah. But you see, I have a problem with the film. And that film, the problem is the film is called Mirai. So you
Hmm.
expect the central character to be Mirai, and she's not. The central character and the theme of the film is Kun's journey to accepting Mirai.
It's just,
Mirai actually comes in as a secondary character.
um, yeah, and I would almost say that Kun is more of the antagonist, whereas Mirai is the protagonist. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, they are the two sides of the same coin, but overall, for me, the overall arching story is not the story of Mirai. Mirai is merely a, I suppose one could say, she's the effect on Kun. Kun, Kun has the problem of having to accept Mirai, accept his role as an older brother, and as a 4-year-old who having unfettered emotions from both father and mother to suddenly have this thing, so we say, in his mind, blow
I
it
don't.
out the water, you know, you can get where the antagonism comes from, but
I
it's Kun's journey.
yeah, and I can get partially where the antagonism comes from, but on other aspects I can't, and maybe it's because of how I look at raising children. But the undisciplinedness that Coon had, to the fact not only is he being violent with his sister, but he's also being extremely, for a 4-year old especially, um, not very disciplined with his father and not very disciplined with his mother, and then being extremely rude and mean to them both.
Yeah,
Um,
I,
you
I
know,
think, yeah, I think on that particular subject, the fact that his mother works and is a professional, employee at a very high-powered company. Father is what I would call your typical artistic type. Although he's an architect, he's your typical artistic type. Once he gets involved in something, the rest of the world disappears. So, as a role model to Kun, he's not exactly what one could call a good role model. As we find out later in the film, where I can't remember if it's the granny that actually opens up and says that the father was a bit of a wimp as a kid. He couldn't
Yes.
even ride a bike.
Well,
So,
that's why later on in the movie, where Kun is finally learning how to ride his bike and makes that whole joy, you see a scene just right off of that where, yeah, dad's all happy and wonderful for him, but you can also see his emotions and everything with him, like kind of crying a little bit because he never could do that. And it was something that Kun did.
yeah. So I don't think either of the two parents were much of a role model for Kun.
No.
Um, I don't know why. Normally, Japanese parents are quite, as far as I'm aware,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Japanese parents are, down the line.
They're very
There is
disciplined.
yeah,
Yeah.
kids are expected to do certain things at a certain time of life, and if you can't do it, then you are taught in no uncertain
How to do
terms
it.
how to do it and not what not to do. I mean, I find it strange that Granny doesn't interfere because Japanese grandparents have been known to stick their noses in when it comes to the raising of the grandkids if they don't think the parents are doing it right. But
Well,
Granny doesn't do this.
I think it's because she can kind of feel, because there's been certain things that she's expressed over the course of it, especially early on when they brought Mirai home, was she was kind of being shooed out of the house as quickly, as the parents could shoo her out of the house.
Yeah,
They did not appreciate a lot of things that she was saying. They did not appreciate the fact that she was calling the father kind of weak and other things. And you can just kind of almost see that attitude through that.
oh yeah,
And also even Kun, yes, Kun loves his grandmother, but you can also see where he has that, because she gives him the look about cleaning up the toys and everything before mom comes home from the hospital. And that's just, not in his game of doing things at that
no.
point.
I mean, Kuhn is what one, I suppose, we would call an extremely precocious child. He,
Yeah,
the world revolves around him. You know, I
exactly.
don't, yeah, I don't like that, so I hate that. I
Yeah.
don't like this, so I hate this.
Well, it was like there's one scene in there where his yellow shorts are dirty.
Yeah,
And he throws, I'm sorry, this child is 4 years old. If you're raised properly, no 4-year-old throws that big of a fit because they can't have the color pants they want.
true.
At least none of the children that, and it might be because I'm an older parent, but that was not how I was raised. That is not how my kids were raised. That is not how my
Wasn't how,
friends' kids were raised.
wasn't how I was raised either. If I
You know,
had done half of what Kuhn did
and
around a child of that age, I'd be perfectly frank. I would have ended up, as the Americans say, getting a damn good paddling.
yeah, same here. That child would have been bent over my knee faster than you can shake a stick. But here's the thing: I have a 25-year-old niece who basically has an adopted 2-year-old.
Mhm.
That's kind of how they look at each other. She's helped raise this child from birth, and she's kind of like this child's second mother. And I tell you, 100%, if Catherine saw this and if Wynn behaved that way, you bet, and Winnie's only 2. You bet she would have disciplined her in the
Mm,
proper way. But Gwen would know not to, throw those kind of fits, not to have full on temper tantrums to that degree, you know?
yeah, I mean, it's almost as Kuhn has ADHD
Well, he
in
does. It's
many
very
ways.
obvious that he does. But even
Yeah,
that can be controlled. Now, I understand there are certain things with certain, mental aspects or things with children, especially, and with, even adults. There are some things they cannot help, especially children with autism, cannot help that. But this, for all intents and purposes, is a 100% normal, healthy, no, underlying causes or diseases child that has just not been disciplined.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, true. I mean, there are many, many things that as you go through, you can pick up. I mean, it's yes, you get to see how a Japanese family operates, but it's a broken Japanese family. Um, and as I wrote here, jealousy is a terrible thing, and I think as regards Kun, that's really what drives him is jealousy that he
Mm-hmm.
no longer occupies the center of attention. And it's that jealousy, that deep seated jealousy, that brings about what happens because you never find out quite what sparks it off. I mean, the first weird incident is the dog.
Well, no, you definitely see what sparks it off. 100%. It's like right there in your face. The fact that mother is giving all the attention to the baby, and even though Coon wants to show her a train, or he wants to do something, she's like, no, I have to do this to the baby now, and everything revolves around the baby. And now even Dad has gotten into, because he's uncertain of how to get the baby to stop crying, and the baby doesn't like him. But now even he's centered and revolved around the baby. Everything is around that baby, and because he's having to clean up messes, because it could be, we're getting company to come see the baby, grandma's coming to come see the baby again. Other things, you need to be cleaning up your trains. I know I don't want to clean up my trains. I'm playing with my trains right now.
Mm.
That whole aspect toward the baby, and everything he looks around and sees is all centered around the baby, and nothing is given to him. And I get where some of that anger and everything is coming from. You know, like I said, not to the extent of some of the other stuff that he was throwing, like he has to wear, his yellow shorts, things like that. But he has gotten so angry at her that he results to
Mm.
violence
It's
by
just
hitting
driven
her.
by jealousy. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just driven by pure by jealousy. Um, I will say that when the first event with the dog happens,
God, that was so funny.
yeah, I was somewhat. I mean, I've seen it several times now, so it's not quite as shocking. But the dog's tail, that bit
Seeing the dog.
to me was a little bit OTT. I mean, all well and good, but really, no, I wouldn't have thought so. Not it's there are one or two things in the film that I do not like. That's one of them. I'll be
I,
honest.
I
That
I
is
thought
one
it
of
was
them.
I thought it was funny, but what I really loved with the cinematography of it that was done with the drawing is when, after he meets Mirai in the future as more grown up, and they come in to try to figure out how to put the two dolls back up, the girl,
Oh yeah, for the yeah.
yeah, and they're sneaking around and sneaking around. They sneak by the table, and you see a hand raise up, and then nothing, and then they get caught. I think it was Mirai and the dog had gotten caught underneath the table. The dog's, like, you could see, getting more and more and more frustrated and hot and ready to go. But that whole thing, I think, was a phenomenal piece, just that, of storytelling.
Oh
It
yeah,
was so
yeah.
good. And the way they made the um, storyboard of that as each piece going around was really, really spectacular. I like that.
About that doll removal scene, Mirai asked Kun a certain question, and the result that was forthcoming from Kun. As soon as he did what he did, I immediately thought of you, which was the dirty hands and the nose picking. And I
The
thought, I wonder
meme for
what my
that?
co host would have thought about this.
Okay. I thought I sat there and nose picked or something.
Yeah, no. If you remember when she comes back, she say, "Can we move the dolls?"
Yeah,
She says to Boone, "Show me your hands."
yeah.
So he goes like this, and they are filthy.
Uh-huh.
And
I
while
remember
she
that.
said, "Well, we'll work round that," he stands there pretty much the same way as the ghost in Okko's Inn, um, and shoves a digit up his
Uh-huh.
nose and then proceeds to wipe it all over his
Ooh.
shorts. And I thought, well, what would my dear co-host, who went absolutely ballistic at the Ghost in Okko's Inn, what would she make of this? So
I
I'm asking
didn't
the question, what did you make of it, dear?
I did not like it. Let's put it that way. There was two or three things I did not care for in this movie. One was the same thing with the bathroom when I thought it was a really smart choice for Coon to, kind of rescue them by saying he had to go to the bathroom.
Mm.
But, how dad's rushing him. It's like, okay. Well, let's do mommy and daddy's. What in that whole thing made it think that he couldn't hold it? He just had to go to the bathroom. And he needed to distract dad. He's 4.
Yeah, but Mum
By
had said, tell your dad when you have to go. Now, you
True.
don't know if the child, even though he's 4, he still could have training underwear on that he needs his father's assistance to remove.
Um, for most part, I would agree with you. But if he can sit there and put on his shorts and all the other things by himself, he shouldn't have any problems putting on underwear, whether it's a pull up or not.
Maybe
There, like
so,
I said,
but
there's
yeah,
inconsistencies with the
yeah,
movie.
very big inconsistencies. I mean, yeah, I mean, it is all, it does. I mean, and also the Japanese habit of the family all having a bath together. I
Yeah.
bet that threw a few people for a loop. Not the normal thing you see.
I didn't even think about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's, and what's funny is up until my kids were probably 3, and my daughter and my niece a little older than that, they were all in the bathtub with me.
Yeah. But I mean, the tree in the middle of the house.
Well, the father designed that specifically.
Yeah.
And what's funny, for a bit of a backstory in that, and you probably already found this, but that architecture of the house and the tree that was done, that the Coon's father basically architected,
Design. Yeah.
was actually a real architect came in and made those designs for the film with the tree.
That would not surprise me in the slightest. But just what kind of tree was that to be able to do what it did? And how did Mirai discover this and be able to travel back? Or did Mirai travel back? Was it just Kuhn's imagination?
Originally when I started watching it, I thought it was Coon's imagination, but no. You later find out as you layer through the film certain things, like he finds his grandfather, and then
Yeah,
his
he was a bit
mother
of a wild
tells.
guy, wasn't he?
Oh, he was gorgeous. I'm sorry, animation or not, that man was gorgeous.
Oh, he certainly had a presence. That was for sure.
That's an attractive presence to me. Let's put it
Yeah,
that
I
way.
mean, he knew, despite the fact that Kuhn wasn't his own kid, he knew how to handle that child.
Yeah.
He took him and he showed him how to overcome his fears. Kuhn actually turned round and called
Call
the
called him.
grandfather dad.
Yeah, because he looks like his dad. And
Yeah,
if you see afterwards, they're flipping through the picture book, and
yeah,
he's like,
the album.
"Oh, you know who that?" Your mom saying, "Well, you know who that is, and you know who that is." He's like, "Well, that's dad." It's like, no, that's not dad. That's, you know,
your great granddad.
grandfather. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the bit in the train station, I kind of, I suppose, it kind of threw me because up until that point, most of the, shall we say, adventures that Kuhn had been on were reasonably grounded. But the train in the station, the Shinkansen that takes the lost children away,
Yeah.
I thought, where the hell did that come from? I mean, up until then, everything was grounded in reality. You know, the trains that were spoken about are real trains, as we discovered in one of Senkai's movies.
Yeah.
So
Well,
we know the trains were real, but then this mythical bloody Shinkansen appears out of nowhere.
I think it was because he was so lost in his anger and his hurt, and his mind just, he started imagining things of what he would do, and somewhere maybe deep inside he really did care for Mirai, and we see that because he's there and he's lost. And I think that's the whole thing. He feels lost.
Yeah,
It's
he's
not
lost
that he's
himself.
actually physically lost, but yes, exactly.
Yeah,
He's lost himself. He doesn't think mom loves him. He doesn't think dad loves him. And that's when he goes to basically the train for lost children.
yeah,
And at that point, it was supposed to be taking him to the Lonely Land. But at that point, I think somewhere in the back of his mind, he's not only thinking of adult, well, semi adult Mirai, but also baby Mirai. And just, he's maybe starting to like her a little bit, then realizing, hey, wait a minute, I actually am her big brother. This
yeah.
is time for me to stop acting quite so scared and alone because I'm not. I actually do have somebody.
But then again, you see, when he first starts that train journey, that's where you get another one of your inconsistencies, a big inconsistency. When Mirai is trying to remove those dolls, she reverts back to being a baby because
Mm-hmm.
they turn around and say the adult Mirai cannot exist in the same time as the baby Mirai.
Correct.
But when he legs it, his older self is sitting in the train station and talks to him.
That's not him.
It is him because it's the same kid that walked past in the garden when they're going back. And Mirai says, "You know who that was?" And he went, "Mm-hmm," because that was his older self. Because the
No, that was
kid in the train station says, "You didn't, just because you didn't want to wear your blue trousers or your blue pants, you wanted your yellow ones. You didn't want to make happy memories." It is him.
they have actually gone and because I researched that. They have actually gone and said no. That was his father that he saw,
No,
not him.
I'm not sure. I would have said it was him.
That's
So,
what I was thinking too until I found that research. And it's like, okay,
I mean, this this director is the same director that did The Girl That Leapt Through Time,
correct. And also my wolf children.
and also Your Wolf Children.
And here's the thing with this particular director is he does everything that he has done, and there's other projects that he has done that I hope we'll get into later on, but he has all done it very family based, family orientated, with a regular flow of family dynamic,
Hmm.
not like you know Miyazaki does, but in a
No,
more I hate to say this, but in a more realistic type family dynamic
yeah,
of, the
yeah.
siblings quarrels. We even saw that in Wolf Children, the siblings
Yeah,
quarreling
the
and
three. If you think about the three stories that I mentioned there, Girl That Leapt Through Time, Wolf Children, Mirai, right?
Mhm.
All those stories are of children overcoming particular situations.
Correct.
I mean, we have the girl that let through time further down the line. She's coming up. We've done wolf children. Their problem was they lived in two worlds. Which child was going to go which way?
Exactly.
In this film, you have Kun and Mirai. You Kun has come to this junction in his life. Which way is he going to go? Is he going to go down the I'm a big brother route and eventually accept Mirai for who she is and look after her? Or is he going to go down the other way of resenting Mirai not being the big brother?
Hmm.
This is the conflict within the child. And I
Yeah.
believe this director, as we've seen in Wolf Children and in Mirai, and we will see in Girl That Leapt Through Time, he does this and he does it with finesse.
Very much so.
He
Very, very
you.
much so.
Yeah, he takes you on this journey with this either A, the individual, or B, as in Wolf Children, with both of them. With
Um,
in Mirai, it's you're basically concentrating on Kun. Mirai comes in, yes, but you're basically watching Kun and his journey. Wolf Children, you've got the two. Girl That Leapt Through Time, you've got the main protagonist, the girl, but then you've got all the others around her. When we get to that film, we will find out.
true. Um, uh, I can't say the name quite correctly. Mamoru Hosada was the one who, like I said, who directed this and created the animation behind it. And a lot of people have thought, because not only of his storytelling but other things, that he basically is the second coming of Miyazaki. Where I'm talking about Miyazaki Senior, not Miyazaki Junior. Um,
Yeah,
and a part of that I do see. Part of it I don't, for one particular reason. I mean, the part I see is the storytelling. His storytelling is spectacular, but I don't see quite as in depth with the artistry.
no, no,
There
no, no.
were two or three very brilliant spots throughout that was done quite well, but overall, my first thought was when I started watching it. I know I told you this. It's like, love the story, hate the artwork. The artwork was
Yeah,
so flat, it was almost boring, but the story more than makes up for it.
exactly. But what I found, no, I'm not disrespecting your what you're saying about the artwork. I find the artwork in this film is the same as the artwork in Tales of Earthsea, which is the background artists did a fantastic job. Think of some of those background scenes that you see, like the clouds on the screen at the moment. Look at those clouds; they're
Oh
three dimensional. Think of the when you see the city from above. It's three dimensional. You can see the shadows, the cars
yeah.
have, but then the main animation starts with the characters, and it's oh,
Yeah.
it's something you might expect from the late 70s, early 80s. It's flat 2D animated characters with the
It's
black
flat.
outline around them,
Yeah.
and that
It's
doesn't.
flat 2D, and it is, in my opinion, even not completely finished. It wasn't completely filled out. It's like when you look at Baby Mirai when he grabs her hand for the first time, and you see the little fingers. Those are not fully fleshed out fingers. Even it's just a very simple sketch.
Yeah, but didn't I know I maybe it's just my copy, but I found some of the animation when the film first starts, I find it very jerky.
I didn't have that problem.
Yeah, I find, especially when the grandma was moving around the house, she seemed to be this position one minute, next minute she was over here, and then I'm thinking, That was a bit sharp, you know. She didn't seem to flow like a normal person going around the house. But, you know, maybe, as I say, maybe it's just the copy that I've got that does this because it
It
seems to
might,
settle down.
yeah, it might be your copy because for this one, I have it on streaming, and
Mm,
it was a very smooth cut. That wasn't, an issue with me.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but what I find amazing is here, storytelling, like I said, is phenomenal. That storytelling
Oh,
that
yeah.
he has is right up there with Miyazaki. But what surprises me, I mean, this movie originally was released in May of 2018, so not terribly long ago. Um,
Yeah.
but but here's the thing, you know, it was nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Golden Globes. I think it was the 78th Golden Globe, if I remember correctly. Um, and it was also nominated for the Critics' Choice Awards and the 91st Academy Awards. I mean, those are all major, major, award ceremony things that this is nominated for. Unfortunately, of course, it lost, and I could not believe what it lost to. It's almost as bad as um, the one Miyazaki that was lost to. I forget which one that one was lost to. Oh, Frozen. This is just about as bad, in my opinion. And
Yeah.
I am
Well, I
a
mean,
huge, huge DC fan. I'm a huge, huge Marvel fan. And I'm a very huge fan of this particular animation, but it lost out to Spider Man into the Spider Verse. And I could not believe that.
no, well, it did win 4 prizes. It
Well,
has
you
won
would go
four
on,
prizes.
yeah, you go on and and take on the rest. But like I said, with this, it lost
Yeah.
those three, which in my mind are like the top.
Yeah.
You've got the Golden Globes, you've got the Critics' Choice, and you got the Academy Awards. And those that lost out completely. Oh,
Yeah, it lost that. It lost that actually in the Washington D.C. Area Film Critics Association Awards as well. But it did win at the Stuttgart Animated Film Festival. It did win on that one. It won the Florida Film Critics Circle Award. It won Best Animated Feature from an Independent Artist at the Anime Awards. And shock horror, you know, Crunchyroll, it was nominated, but it didn't get anywhere. But it did
that
win the
sounds like
Japanese
Crunchyroll.
Academy Prize for for the animation of the year. So it did win 4. It was nominated for quite a few, but it only won 4.
Well, what I find kind of amusing as well is this is not a fairly long running movie. It was only, I believe, 98 minutes from start to finish. And I believe that is including the credits as well.
Mm.
So, it really kind of surprised me for being such a shorter movie from what we normally come to see from a lot of these long running animation shows.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, considering that at the box office it took $30.4 million.
Wow.
So, despite its, shall we say, its shortcomings, it certainly made its money back. And there are a
Almost.
lot of people that I would say a lot of people that did enjoy it.
Well, like
Um,
I said, I actually really enjoyed the story. It's definitely one to watch and rewatch. And like I
oh
said,
yeah,
when the holidays are coming up, especially, it'd be great. Okay, especially maybe if you have children coming that are adults, maybe bringing their children, and you kind of sit as a multi generational family and watch it because you can see all of these aspects. You know,
yeah,
because even Coon's mother in a throwback to when she was younger is exactly like Coon.
yeah,
That child is just out of control with candy and messes and everything until her grandma basically put a stop to that right then and there and basically started molding her into being how we see her today as, both the children's parents and how she is with, pick up your messes, pick up this, we don't want things to be dirty.
but as
And,
she admits herself, Kuhn's mother
yeah,
admits herself, she wasn't
yeah.
like that. until she got married.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean? The tradition, the Japanese tradition of how to do things and how to behave kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, having seen some real life kids and the way that they act, especially in public, I must say, Kuhn's behavior, one would look upon it and say, bad parenting, because you see these children of his age, I hasten to add, walking to and from school
Oh
in a
yeah.
crocodile. In a crocodile. They have certain rules and regulations they have to abide by. As I've stated in previous programs, crossing the road. There is a specific point that they have to go to. There are specific actions that they have to carry out. And they are expected, even at that age, to carry these,
Do them.
to
Yes.
do this. You know, that's what the public expect of them. I mean, we would look at it and think, how the hell can you send a 4 or 5 year old off on its own a mile across the city to get to a school, picking up other little kids as they go along?
Yeah.
But to the Japanese, it's expected.
Exactly. And I know that I had a lot of friends in my early, like 18 to 24, 25-year-olds, and a lot of them were living in New York, and they had children that were going to kindergarten and were going to first grade. And these kids learned how to traverse themselves by themselves
Mm,
from their apartment to the subway to the school. And they're like 5, 6 years of age. And you would think even then, in the late 80s, early 90s, that would almost be like, oh my God. But it wasn't. It was kind of almost expected the same way, that the Japanese do expect these children to know, you do this, you do this.
yeah.
When you get home, you immediately clean whatever that you need to clean. You
Mm,
do your homework. You may even already start prepping dinner for somebody if your parents are working.
yeah, exactly. So, these things are sent, I can remember, oh, thank you, Sabrina, for the like. Very much obliged, my dear.
Yeah.
Sabrina,
Okay, thanks.
Sabrina, it's one of my friends. I talk to on Facebook. She's, as I said, she can do a little bit of the old artwork. She's quite good at it, actually. Kind of reminds you of the old 50s and 60s DC Comics hero stuff. She's quite good at it.
Ooh, that's
So
cool. I like that. I like that.
yeah, she is quite good at it. So if I can go get hold of some of her artwork, I'll pass it on to you, and you can check it out. But yeah, I mean, I can remember growing up, probably the same way as you can remember growing up. Certain things were expected of you at certain times in your life.
Oh yeah.
You may not have wanted that particular incident, but yeah, or that particular expectation thrust upon you. But guess what? That was how it was done.
Yes, it was.
I mean, I can remember getting bundled up and out the door. The bus stop's over there. You have to walk from your front door, probably half a mile down the street to the bus stop to get the school bus. It was expected that you could go from your front door to the bus stop.
Hmm. I lived in the country, and it was expected that we walk from my house a good mile and a half, up to the street. Now, I didn't take the bus, but I had somebody that lived about another mile from me, and they stayed on the main street that was coming through. But I had to come all the way down dirt road for like a mile and a half between other houses and everything else up to that main street. And that was
Mm.
expected.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back then it was expected. I mean, and the Japanese still expect the kids to do that. I mean, I have heard so many people comment that when they've been over in Japan that they see these kids getting on trains
Mm-hmm.
by themselves and going bloody miles.
Yeah.
And
Kind
they
of like,
stand there, and they are so amazed and shocked. And you think, why? It's how
yeah.
it used to. It's how it used to be. It's
Mm-hmm.
how I grew up, and I grew up streetwise to a certain degree because you were on the streets. You learned very quickly where you could go, where
Where
you
you
didn't
couldn't
go.
go.
Yeah, you learned who you could trust, who you did not go near because it was
Yep.
passed around. And I dare say in Japan, you'll probably find in a lot of way it works the same way over there. The
Yeah.
kids will inform the younger ones not where not to go and what not to do, and it gets passed. Whereas now in the West, I think a lot of it has been lost.
I think a lot of it has been lost. I also think a lot of it now has come because we unfortunately do not have the same safety and security that we had, back in the 80s or the 70s. It has gotten, if you let your mind overtake yourself, so much worse when you hear about, kidnappings and nasty things done to children and other things. But in
Mm,
the same token, you cannot live in fear. And I refuse to let myself live in fear with my daughter. And I would get people asking me, she's only so and so, and she looks like she's 4 years younger than she is. And you're letting her walk a mile, almost like mile and three quarters to school by herself? I'm like, yeah. And she walks down to the park. She walks over to another friend's house. If I don't teach her to be, like you said, street savvy, be aware of what's around her and around her surroundings,
mm,
I do not want her to live in a little ball of fear hiding under her bed until she's 40.
exactly. I mean, everybody goes on about social media and how computers have all bound us together, across millions of miles. Yeah, but then it's taken away street smarts.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are more into playing on a PlayStation or an Xbox, or a computer, talking to people all around the world without the fear of the person at the other end not
Yeah.
being quite what they seem. Whereas
In
if
other
you
words,
do it
stranger
face to
danger.
yeah,
The
whereas
stranger
if you
danger is gone.
exactly, whereas if you did it when you were face to face, you could pick up things you thought, I don't like that person. There's something about that individual I'm not so happy with.
Yeah.
And then another kid would walk up behind you and go, "See that one over there? Yeah, don't go near."
Well,
Like
it's the
likes to do things that aren't right, aren't proper. So you then quickly thought, okay, my first instincts were right. So you stayed away. You learned. You became, as we say, street smart.
it's like when I was growing up, we would all take our bikes and we would ride for miles
Mm,
everywhere.
yeah.
And that goes, that kind of freedom and the street smarts goes back to when Kuhn went to the train station. He was perfectly comfortable with doing that. It wasn't until we got to see the pseudonym, shall we say, for him being lost, was actually he was lost because he was lost from himself. He didn't think his parents loved him. And that itself was a way of playing so the audience could see what was going on with that. Not that he was actually lost, but the
Mm,
rest of the journey and everything, yeah, easily. He could easily do that. And with what he was seeing and going through at the time, because you
mm,
noticed he was seeing all these different trains. There was an old train back from the beginning. And at the end, there is like the brand new shiny bullet train from the future. So
mm.
I think it was all intermixed on that.
Yeah, but I still, when I sit and I watch this, and as I say, I've watched it more than once now. It is a story that if you watch it, you follow the story through, you do pick up, you do get a lot more, as we suppose, subliminal
Hmm.
input. You know, it's not immediately obvious. It's only when you get to watch it a second or a third time, you think, oh yeah, why didn't I remember that the first time? Or why didn't I pick that up the first time? You know.
I think one of my favorite parts was there towards the ending where future Mirai, you know, comes home to the station to take him home,
Mm,
and they're flying through the air as they're getting closer, and they see the tree that you had mentioned. And
yeah,
as we all know, trees also kind of symbolize us, our backgrounds. Each branch of it or each leaf of it is another member of our family to some degree.
yeah,
And I like as it was going through, you know, he kind of sees his family's past with everything. Like I said, he kind of saw that his father, was actually too weak to ride the bike. That's just why he had such an emotional outburst. When Coon could do it, he was so happy and excited. But I think he was very sad and hurt for himself that he wasn't able to do that. You
yeah.
know, So that was cool. And then of course, we get to see Yuko the dog when he was a puppy. And he had to leave his mother. Which, if you go back to when Kun first meets Yuko, human Yuko, you know, and he makes a conversation of, well, you know what? I kind of understand why you're so upset, that you have this new baby coming in. That's how I kind of felt when you got here because I was the most loved and adored. And then all of a sudden here you were.
Yeah. Then you appeared. Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, it was from a dog's perspective, but it was also kind of the same feelings, you
yeah,
know? Yeah, it was really, really cool. And then, even talking about Coon's mother, how much, when they were flipping through the books and he saw a picture of his mother holding like a toy cat, then it goes on to see why there was never any cats and it was always, dogs like Yuko. It's because she had a horrible experience, a very traumatic one, when she was a younger child that I guess a cat had killed a bird.
mm,
And that was when she decided she did not want anything more to do with cats.
yeah,
And it even goes back even farther. When you hit another leaf, you do get to see his very, very handsome grandfather. And and he did have the injury from the war that forced him to survive because he was absolutely determined he was going to live when his boat capsized and was, I'm going to assume, because this was World War II, was probably bombed. You know, but
yeah,
he survived and he lived through that, but he did have a severe leg injury. And when on day one, when he's walking, this real pretty girl comes up to him, and says, "You want to race?" And she makes it to where she loses the race and lets him win, but she's coming in, and it's a fun interaction to where she doesn't look at his injury and like be shying off from it. And we come to find out that's his great grandmother, where
yeah.
those two basically started this. I wouldn't say this whole tree, but that's what we see with it.
Yeah, the
So
part of the tree that Kuhn has been taught. So, as far as
yeah,
Kuhn is concerned, that's where the tree starts. Obviously, it's not. We all know it's not because obviously there's parents and grandparents from those two. But yeah,
right.
yeah,
So I mean, looking back through all of that and then being able to even see his mother as a little girl and to see that she is very much like him, very
mhm,
much. All of that I think kind of seeps in. And he even got to meet Mirai, and he says, "Okay, are you from the future?" And she's like, "No, this is my time. You're actually in the past."
yeah,
So he gets to see all of that and experience all of that. And so by the time he comes back, he's a lot more open minded with his family. and the whole conniption fit he threw over his shorts that threw off the family vacation. He was much more apologetic for it and ready, let's go, and you know, right on point of being a
Yeah.
decent child, shall we say? You
Yeah.
know.
But I do have a complaint about the parents when they go on the holiday.
Okay, they leave him.
Very unsafe car loading. If you notice, the two kids are in the back seat. There's meant to
Uh-uh.
be a netting up on the back of the Volvo to stop things coming through. It's not. It's hanging down. They're loading the car up, and there's all these little bits that they're sticking in, and you think, sharp brake, kids are going to get it on the unsafe
Hey,
loading. Not.
that's how I grew up. I'm sorry. Everybody got thrown in the back of the Studebaker and just
Yeah,
went for
it's
it.
how I grew up and all. It's how I grew up and all. You sit in the back seat and all of a sudden you smack in the back. What the
I
mum?
think I
Uh,
think I've done that. I think I've done that with my own kids too. Even now into adulthood, it's like whack. You hit the brakes. You know. But
yeah, yeah. When I had a saloon, not a hatchback or an estate or station wagon. When I had a saloon vehicle and it had a parcel shelf, I used to
mm,
stick soft toys on the back of the parcels. And the amount of times people who were sitting in the back of the car and I'd suddenly brake shut and all these little soft toys would belt off the back of the shelf, smack everybody on the back of the head. And people used to
you,
sit there,
you
what
know
the
what I
hell is
used to do with what I used to do with the shelf, and probably hundreds of other kids did the same thing. We would ride up there. We'd sleep up there.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
And
Yeah.
there'd be more than one occasion where my parents stepped down hard on the brakes and I went think off the thing and onto the floor.
Well, you're saying that. I mean, I can remember traveling down from London at one time and I picked a friend up with their 3-year-old. My car had a sunroof. This 3-year-old was absolute. Oh, hello.
Okay, Mr. Michael, what do you mean by time check? And
Yes,
yes, I
please.
know I've got another program. We're still fine. Relax.
Yeah. She was so fascinated with this sunroof that she said, "Can I stick my head out of it?" "Well, okay then." Problem was, I'm on the freeway doing 70 miles an hour. She is standing up on the center console between the two front seats, head out the top of this car doing 70 miles an hour. Now, could you imagine doing that these days? Anywhere?
Yeah.
But back
Uh,
then, what the hell? Yeah. How many
Michael,
times do you,
Michael, just to let you know, yes, it is set up. It's ready to go. It'll literally take me all of 2 minutes to do it. I've even loaded up certain sound for it, so don't worry. So
what, for one of his programs, you
no,
mean?
ours.
What's she so concerned about then? If it's nothing to do with him, what's she? Michael, behave. Just go and do your talented universe things, whatever it is you're going to do.
No, don't tell him to do that, or he'll find more people for me to squeeze in tomorrow.
Well, that's the joy of working for Mister.
He's yelling at you.
Yes, I will treat him with the contempt it deserves and completely ignore him.
All right. No, he got us off track. Now, what I was.
Yes, right off track. There's nothing unusual there. I mean, the grandfather, just to is Koji Yakusho. Sorry,
Hmm.
that's who plays the grandfather, the voice.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but Hosoto actually was kind of inspired to write this whole thing um, after he saw the way that his 3-year-old son had their first reactions when he brought home a baby, his baby sister. So this kind of all naturally grew out of this, just organically with his own family dynamic.
yeah, because it says here that the great grandfather's story was actually based on Hosoda's wife,
Yeah.
great grandfather. So
Yeah, a lot of this is all interwoven with his own family dynamics.
which, if you think about it, just, Miyazaki Senior did the same.
He did. And
Miyazaki Senior has done the same with Boy and Heron.
I think if Miyazaki and Hosoda ever teamed up to do a project, like you were saying, junior and senior maybe do a project, but I almost think that if you take Miyazaki Senior and Hosoda, I think it would be even a more magnificent type thing because Miyazaki has the artistry to do very in-depth background. Not to say that Miyazaki doesn't do incredible stories,
Well,
but
look at
I like how Hosada does family everyday
yeah,
general open your door. I looked at this and I was looking at, oh my god, those are my kids. You know,
yeah,
my niece and my nephew, like I said, who I've helped raise. In the hallway, we have the hallway with the different bedrooms and the bathroom, and I can their bedrooms were just directly across from the bathroom, and you could hear them whispering quietly, but you could hear them like throwing punches at each other when they were, really younger, not realizing that I have a huge, great big bay window and their parents could see it. I could see the whole thing. But it's that sister brother interaction. Now
could
they
you
there.
imagine if Hosada Miyazaki Senior
Yeah,
got together and redid, say, Spirited Away? How
that would be
different that would
amazing.
turn out.
That would be amazing. Absolutely amazing.
And then if you threw in Senkai with the way that he does his almost ultra realistic backgrounds,
Yeah.
so get those three together, boy, what would you get?
I'm not entirely sure that we could handle it, to be completely honest with you, because each one of these creators have done things that literally blow your mind.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
Mangata Senkai. I mean, Your Name, Weathering with You,
you, yeah,
you know,
and then
Suzume, and then you got Miyazaki Senior with Spirited Away, Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle.
but yeah, you even look at that, but you even maybe look at some of the other. I don't want to say basic, but kind of along the same human interest, straight on stories that you can understand. And
Hmm.
that's The Wind Rises. You take all of that and throw it in there, you've got
Oh, yeah.
that. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but his grandfather actually, or great grandfather, had actually worked, within the industrial industry as well, with the
Hmm.
airplanes and other things. So that,
Yeah.
is kind of I would say, a nod to Miyazaki.
Well, you see, with
It
Miyazaki,
really
you
was.
think of Miyazaki, you're saying them, you're forgetting Whisper of the Heart.
That's right.
Up and Poppy, yeah,
That's right.
Up and Poppy Hill. They're
Well,
straight.
we haven't reviewed those two, and that may be why I didn't put them
Yeah,
in. But
yeah. But I mean, I've yet to get hold of From Up on Poppy Hill. I've only seen excerpts of it. I still cannot get
oh,
hold of a copy of From Up on Poppy Hill. For some reason, every time I think, there it is, and I go to order it,
let
unavailable.
me let me see if I know someone that can get it for you. And maybe I can send it to
But
you.
it happens. I mean, there's other films that if you think about it, the way they're written, if these people got together and wrote these or rewrote these stories in a collaboration form, as you say, would we be able to handle the result?
Like I said, I honestly don't think we could. I really don't because it is so brilliant.
I mean, a Miyazaki storytelling, this guy, the way he brings everything together, and Makoto Shinkai with his ultra realistic drawing skills, I think we'd probably end up in the corner as a gibbering wreck because we, as you say, it would just be a purely magical film that,
It would be so much sensory overload. It would,
yeah, it would.
but I would still be like, please, we would love to see it.
Yes.
You know?
Even if it meant that was it, game over. I want to
Yeah,
see it.
exactly. So
Yeah,
I
I would
mean,
love to see it.
like I said, this movie to me, and I heard so many people that some of my friends, some people that I just in general talk to it, within the certain groups that I'm in, the Facebook groups, and they have given me all different sorts of things. There's been several people that have said, "Oh, the animation with this and the artistry was just, unbelievable, mind blowing." And I'm thinking to myself, "No, it wasn't, but the story was."
Yeah, the story
And
is what, to me, the
and there's
story is.
and there was other people that have the same feeling that we do. It was a very one dimensional, you know, background and drawing, but the story was there.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah,
um,
the main animation to me is very flat 2D, whereas, as I said, with this film, as with Tales of Earthsea, the background artists, fantastic. The main artists that did the actual animation of the characters, yeah, not so much. Oh, there you go.
yeah,
Look at
yeah.
the
I mean, look at
look
that.
at
Look at the
the
fluffy
characters.
clouds.
Yeah, look at those
Yeah,
clouds, and then look at the two characters in front. How 2D flat they appear with the
yeah.
black
Because
lines around them, which you kind of expect from Scooby Doo or something.
right, but the clouds are just exquisite. But everything else, not so much.
Not so much, yeah. Precisely that, yeah.
Ah, this was
Yeah,
sticking
well,
on me. This was sticking on me yesterday too. There we go.
you're back again.
Um, I'm back again. Um, but yeah, one things I did kind of want because I know we do have another program coming on under this, but I did want to show one thing regarding what I consider one of my favorite things as far as a snack, and I was so thrilled to have actually seen it on the show. So I am going to show you. I could have either gone in my kitchen and dug it up, or I can just show you from the Amazon what it is,
You do that then.
which I think would be a little easier. That way I can actually explain it if I can find where my Amazon stuff in here is so varied. I have so many things lined up. Ah, there it is. Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. Where'd you go? There
We
we
are
go.
not promoting Amazon, by the way. Before anybody
No,
comments,
we're not promoting Amazon, but this is what I wanted to show you. Um,
ah,
do you know what these are?
yeah,
Why are you laughing?
I just suddenly remember when as soon as it came up, I thought, yeah, I know where you're on about now.
I
You know,
absolutely love them, and I do them in two different ways. Either I'll do a pancake batter and fill them like with sweet bean paste or chocolate pudding or some sort of cream or something like that. Or I'll do a savory and then stuff it with, you know, different savory things like spinach and all that other stuff. It just depends.
yeah,
But these to me are the perfect fish shaped waffle. And this is a fish shaped waffle iron that you can see how waffle irons work. And if you look right up here, you will see, what those look like when they're all cooked up. And
yeah,
they're literally one of my favorite things. So I was really pleased to have seen that in the movie.
yeah,
And also, you remember when he was putting these all over baby Mirai's face, and then he met her from the future, and she still had one under her under her nose.
yeah.
So, and actually, I do like those too. However, I do not like the super hot one. This one is just the regular one, but those are a couple of my favorite. Oh, it didn't come up on yours. No, hang on. I thought it did. Well, you need to tell me when things aren't coming up, girl.
Who?
You.
No, it's up there. I can see it.
No, that's not the one I'm talking about. That is not the one I'm talking about. Okay, you got to see the waffle one, but remember when I was talking about um her and her little fish crackers?
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is them. See, they're little fish shaped crackers.
Yeah.
So
But his ones, he didn't have just fish shaped ones. He had different shaped ones as well, didn't he? There was
yeah,
fish,
he
and
did.
then there was something else. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly what they all were, but yeah, I remember them. Yeah.
yeah. So those are actually two of my favorite things. Or if you wanted to go with just regular fish shaped crackers, if you didn't want anything that actually tasted like fish, because these do a little bit, just get a goldfish. And no, I don't mean the goldfish in a fish bowl. I'm talking about the goldfish crackers.
No, no,
Sorry, I
don't.
need to clarify that for some people who may not understand.
Yeah,
But
exactly. I mean, we are talking this scene here.
yes,
She has obviously lost the fish from under the nose, but this is what we're
right.
talking about here,
Yeah.
where she's, but this also shows what I'm on about with the background artists. I mean, look at the background in this picture,
Hmm.
how three-dimensional it is. And then, unfortunately, look at the two characters at the front.
Yeah.
Yes, the interaction is delightful, but, you know, I just wish they'd done it slightly better.
Yeah, I agree with you. But like I said, the story was phenomenal. So
Oh yeah, I didn't realise that there's another film now um, with the same name.
yes, and I have seen it
I
because
have.
it is a Hindi movie, um,
Yeah,
and you kind of know my history with that. So
yeah.
I
I
cannot believe
only
it'll
came
be
across
9 years
it because
next month.
I put in Mirai real life locations, attempting to get real life locations for this particular film, and it come up with Himalayas and Nepal, and I'm thinking, no,
Mm-mm.
why would a Japanese film be in Nepal and him? I did not twig, and then I went into it, and I suddenly thought, that's not the film I'm on about. Go away.
I
But I mean,
think you need to put. I think you need to put in the full Mirai of the future,
yeah,
not just Mirai.
no, yeah, I put in, Mirai anime film. Unfortunately, I don't think there are direct links to um, real locations, but one has to work through and use one's own imagination as to where this mythical place is, and it's got to be just outside Tokyo on what I would call the cheaper side of Tokyo. It's got to be in that area somewhere.
I wouldn't even have said it was the cheaper side of Tokyo, um,
I wouldn't have
because
thought it's the north. It's got to be on that eastern side. I don't think it's on the western side
no, it just like I said with the architecture of where he did it and everything. It seems like it'd be more higher end.
because I don't know if it's the fact that the kid knows about the Yamamoto line, and that is like the big circle that goes around the whole of Tokyo, the inner
Mm.
part of Tokyo. So there's got to be, somewhere on that line, there's another line coming in that the kid knows about. So it was just, I was trying to work out where. So I could be wrong. You never tell.
No,
You know me. I like to put these places. I like to get these films and then find it.
I was hoping you were able to. I should have forewarned you that there is another movie.
Yeah. No, I didn't know there was another movie, but now I do. Now I do. Jordan Bennett, but never mind. We
And I,
shall work it through.
yeah,
We
I
shall
know
work it.
in 2 weeks we're going to be doing Ponyo, which I'm really looking forward to because it is another very kid friendly movie. Which between this one and Ponyo, I think are so good for this time of year because people are just now within the next week or so starting to get out for Christmas. Christmas breaks and all that, and getting their families and thinking about traveling. So
Well,
these are
especially Ponyo. I mean, for this time of the year, Ponyo definitely has that appeal. I
yeah.
mean, we're not going to deny that. I mean, it really does. I mean, have I seen Ponyo? Again, yay and nay. I've seen parts of it, but it was the English dubbed version, and I'm not overly impressed with English dubbed versions, if I'm perfectly frank and honest.
Well, you finally got the DVD, and it's the full Japanese version, correct?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's over there, I believe.
Okay.
I believe Ponyo's over there. I will. You've got me worried now. I'm sure I bought Ponyo.
You think you did because I remember you showing it to me.
No, that's see Yamada's. Okie dokie. Close all the doors. On poker. Close all the doors. All the watertight doors. Yes, it's there.
Told
My
you.
mistake. It's there. Right there. Ponyo.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. It's sitting next to Only Yesterday and The Wind Rises.
So that will be on the 21st. We will be doing that one.
Yeah.
So,
We should be having some fun with fishy folk. I wonder if they play for the Miami Dolphins. No, never mind.
hey, Dolphins better to be doing something today. Um,
I'm hoping some of my picks do something today.
I'm hoping two in particular of mine do. Only two in particular, because those are only two that somebody I am trying to outbeat. I don't care about anybody else in the line. I just want to get. I have to get four more. Three more. Three more to get over him and take the lead. So
Would that be the 49ers by chance? One of the two that you're looking forward to?
no, no. Niners are on bye week.
Okay.
So
Well,
that
if you go on
I'm
the
I'm
relevant,
going for the Texans is one. I'm going for the Texans, and everybody else is going for the Chiefs.
yeah, that's because there's a problem with quarterbacks.
I know, but it's like, yeah, okay. I'm gonna take a shot. If I don't get these, I'm just gonna keep falling. So
There is one. There is one. Um, uh, I'm there on my own. Originally, it was me and scorekeeper, but he did something we advise people not to do.
in other words, you did a me.
He switched. He switched. You
You
see,
know what happens when you do that, Roger.
yeah,
Don't be a
exactly. You
me.
see, yeah, you see, the Dodo Boy and Gig went for one lot. I'd gone for the other side. He'd followed me along. Then when Dodo Boy and Gig did their little spiel, he went, "Oh, I'm changing," and he swapped them and joined them. And I thought, Roger, you know what happens when you do this. So
Yes.
I'm hoping against hope that we live in hope and die in despair. Cowboys
Here,
did it to me
here.
on Bloody Thursday, so
Yeah, I did it to us all. But on that one, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up because we do have another program coming up at 9 o'clock, and this will be um, basically getting an in-depth look into Pearl Harbor because today is the 84th anniversary of Pearl Harbor.
mhm.
And it is also actually to the date correct because today is December 7th. And we will be looking at it at an angle from both sides, not just what the Americans did and how, we reacted with it. But it's also all of the buildup from Japan coming over, and their whole buildup as to why. So we will be doing an in-depth dive on that starting at 9 o'clock. So I hope
Yeah.
anybody who's listening, come on over and join us. And if you're listening afterwards, the program will be up as well. So just, hit up the program if you wanted to and look at it later. So on that,
We will be grateful. We
yes,
will do our best.
on that note, stay safe. Enjoy football today if you're going to do it, and just be grateful to everybody around you, and be grateful, that we're here.
Yep.
On that note, we'll see you later.
Bye. Have a nice afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.